Oh yeah, folks, here we go. I want to go live tonight real fast because I've been doing some YouTube shorts called Name That Song. And it's very interesting how some people just know it right away and some people aren't a little quick as others. I guess it just depends on what decade you really grew up in and how well you know classic rock, country, just music in general. If all you listen to is, top 40 current pop and stuff, then you might not know some of these older songs. But there's two songs in particular that I want to show you real fast. And this is going to be a cool little lesson for maybe some of you who are interested in this kind of stuff. And the two songs are Hold On Loosely by 38 Special and Overkill by Men at Work. Okay? Now, they are in two different keys, but they have a very similar chord progression that can be a little tricky if you're not familiar with the different rhythms. So I'm not going to try and have you guess which one's which. I'm just going to tell you this one's Hold On Loosely. This is how it goes. So we have this staccato palm muting kind of feel to the chords. So the chord is E power chord, then the root goes down to a D sharp, and then it goes into a D power chord, and the root goes down to C sharp. So we have this descending line. See it all around you. Good love don't last. Yeah, oh, whoa, yeah. Okay. Now, all that's well and good, but this is the rhythm of it. So it's very, it's got some accents in there. So we're going. Now that same chord right there, that can also be an A with a C sharp in the bass. So it also works like that. So we got E, da, D, A over C sharp, and then da 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 da. Seeing it all around you. Good loving don't last. Right, stuff like that. Okay. Let's check the comments here. Francis is in the house having fun. So yeah, this is not a head rush thing or just a Taco Tuesday thing. This is just a hey. I've been seeing these kind of comments on my shorts about the different songs. I've been wanting you to try and guess, name that song. And I figured this would be a cool little lesson for whoever is interested. So that is Hold On Loosely. Now, Overkill by Men at Work, the guys from Down Under, the other band from Down Under, other than AC/DC and Silverchair, and I'm sure among lots of other Aussie-based bands. Men at Work has a very similar chord progression, but the rhythm is just straight eights. So this is how it goes. It's in D, but we're following the same mechanism for the chord changes. So we're going D, then D goes down to C sharp, and then C power chord, C goes down to B. Okay. Uh-oh, Francis has Prime coming in tomorrow. That's cool. All right, so here we go. We got, this is Overkill by Men at Work. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. Da 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 da. La 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 la. Na na tonight. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. Da na da na na na. Okay, so it is very, very similar, but the big difference is the Hold On Loosely goes like this. Right? It has those staccato accents on the chords. Okay, so it's a very easy way to tell which one is which. Even if you're not familiar with keys or what how to listen for keys when you listen to songs, it doesn't really matter what key it's in. You can still listen to the structure of the song and kind of listen for the chords and how they move in relation to each other. So here's Overkill. It's just very straight eights. Da na na na. Ba da 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 da. Da na na Now, G over B, maybe. Let me go to a web page here, because for the life of me, I can't figure out what those next chords are. Well, I'm about to find out. Overkill by Colin Hay. It's really Colin Hay of Men at Work. He was the guy. I mean, it is technically Men at Work, but Colin Hay has been doing his solo stuff for a very long time. Let's look at the chords here. UltimateGuitar.com is a good place to go to find chords. I can get to sleep thinking about the implications. So they're saying it's a D with a D over C sharp, and then a C with a C over B. And that's fine. Imagination. Day after day. Sorry. Day after day, it reappears. I should have known it was B minor, because we're in D, right? So it goes from 1 down to 6. Day after day, it reappears. A sus to A. 9 after 9, my heartbeat shows the fear. Ghosts appear and fade away. So we got that F sharp, which is the major 3 chord, going up to the 4. And then we have the A sus. Da, da. And then we got Alone Between the Sheets. Only brings exasperation. It's time to walk the streets. Smell the desperation. At least there's pretty lights. And though there's little variation, it nullifies the night. From Overkill. Chorus. Day after day, it reappears. 9 after 9, my heart shows the fear. 3 major, goes the beer, fade away. Come back another day. This is like a little bridge section. Oh, it just went away. Come on. Anyway, I clicked something and it died on me. What happened here? Go back. Sorry about that. Bridge is D to 3 minor, the flat 7 to 2 minor. D, 3 minor, flat 7, 2 minor. Then at the end of this, we go back into na 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 na. Da 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 da. Day after day, it reappears. Night after night, my heartbeat shows the fear. Ghost and fear. Shoot. Ghost appear and fade away. Then it repeats, tag it. Ghost appear and fade away. One more time. Ghost appear and fade away. And hold on loosely. Don't let go. See, you can almost do like a mashup of the two songs. They're very, very similar. Francis is saying fire. I don't think so. I'm not a singer at all. I can sing on pitch. I can sing good phrasing, but my voice is not. It's not something you want to listen to all the time. I guarantee that. I guarantee it. Even my guitar playing is subpar, but I feel like I'm a great rhythm player and a okay, decent lead player. But I like sweet tone. So, by the way, this is an Eastman acoustic, the AC 122 1CE, and it works pretty good. And 4 people watching, but Francis is the other one commenting. So let me know your name, where you're from, and do you like playing guitar on your back porch or something? I have a goal here on my website to start doing little lessons like this. But more than likely, this video will not be monetized because I'm playing somebody else's songs. And you know, the copyright strike people will come along and be like, hey, you can't play that on YouTube. How dare you? So my way of getting around that is having my own lessons privately on my website where I can play whatever I want and YouTube can't stop me. So if you want to, I will make an announcement when the lessons start going live on my channel, on my YouTube, on my website. I'm so used to saying YouTube. And checking the comments here. Why is this thing coming up? The acoustic sounds fantastic. Great. Yes, Glenn, it is an Eastman. Glenn's from Canada, Ontario, Canada. Very cool. So yeah, so I have some cool ideas of doing some teaching through my website. On Thursdays, locally, if you are in the Nashville, Murfreesboro area, I do teach lessons on Thursday afternoons. I have about 3 students right now, 2 on drums and 1 guitar student, but I'm always looking to add more and just share this knowledge of 25 years experience that I have with music theory, playing in bands, touring Europe, playing in worship bands for the last 20 years, and just playing as a group, being able to use your ears and listen to the instruments playing around you so you can better understand what part you play in a full band context, whether you're playing acoustic like I am right now, or whether you're playing electric guitar, and the style of tones that really work together with the rest of the band to make a great sounding band. So So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, I do have a music theory course currently available called The Anatomy of Music. I know I'm a doctor, anatomy, keeping the brand going there. But it's a great deal if you want to get a good primer on music theory and how it applies to guitar and also other instruments. And like I said, stay tuned for more cool content coming on the website very soon. Have you ever done Mixbus lessons one-on-one? I have not, but I can. But stay tuned, Glenn, for a lot of V9 videos coming out now that V9 is officially out this week. But if you want to have a one-on-one with Mixbus, we can definitely set that up. And I'm not sure what I would charge for that, but just let me know what particular questions you have, and I can address those for free on the Harrison YouTube channel that I work for, Harrison Consoles. So yeah, so I might do some little pop-ups here, just doing like little lessons on YouTube, but nothing too crazy. But stay tuned for full-fledged stuff that will be available on the website. I do have one more Name That Song coming out tomorrow, and then I'll take a break for the weekend. And my goal is to actually sit down and record 5 YouTube shorts all at once, and then edit them and upload them to be scheduled for the next week. Probably on Saturday or Sunday nights, something around there. And then I can be working on full-length or long-form content, whether I'm doing a review on maybe an instrument or talking about other topics related to the guitar recording community. So any kind of long-form stuff, let me know what kind of topics you want to see. Whether it's about the Headrush Prime that just came out, or possibly a PreSonus fader port that I have here in front of me, or my recording setup that I use here in the studio, what kind of studio monitors I have, maybe the camera gear that I use for live streaming or just making content in general. I need to do all that stuff eventually, so just let me know what you want to see in the upcoming month, for the month of April, and I'll be sure to get right on that. Let's check out the comments here. Yes, V9 is out. I thought I saw you email in, Glenn, about that. But yes, V9 is out, and it's very, very cool. Actually, for fun, let me open up a session here. And this will be a nonchalant overview of the session. And I could probably play a little something. Hit applause. Let me delete some of these things off of my screen here. Let's see, what do I want to do? Let's go a little Boom Boom from 2019. This is an old band that I recorded a few years ago. And Head and Doll, there we are. Let me get this thing out of the way. All right, so it's not the greatest. And maybe I have to move some stuff around. Yeah, I mean, it's fine for now. So let me, I'm not sure what's going on with that white bar. I have all kinds of things on my screen. I will move out of the way so I can see what I'm doing here. Something like that. I have 2 screens, but one's over here on my left. And I got the comments over here on my left too. Yeah, I do like this. The PreSonus Fader Port 16 is really nice. All right. That's pretty good. I'll make this full screen here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And hopefully, maybe, let me check my my output settings. Let's go virtual output 1 and 2. And then I need to check on my console here. Let's get that moved out of the way. So when I play audio, I don't want it to be too stinking loud. And obviously this is all in the way here. All right, one moment. I'm getting it all set up. Let's bring down my comp fader so when I play, it's not going to blow you out. Okay, so that's pretty good right there. Let me know if my voice is too loud or if anything's too loud. I can bring it down. I am going out of the stereo out in this, so you should be hearing stereo on your end. Let me know if you're not, and I'll need to figure out what to tweak to get that working. So here in front of me, I have a 55-inch TV screen. I think it's 55-inch. So I'm able to see at one time, I'm able to see, right now I'm only seeing 2 elements because this is all based on your resolution you have set up. So under scale and size and preferences, I have it set to 100% default, and the number of mixer strip scales I can see is automatic. So with it set to automatic, it's really just going to limit me to whatever my resolution is, okay? Now, if you go to your system settings, and this depends on whether you're on a Mac or Windows, but it should be fairly similar. So under displays, this is a 50-inch TV, sorry, because this is a 6 Series 50. I have mine set to 2560 by 1440, okay? What that means is if I go, that resolution size 1440 is only allows me to have, especially like a 2K monitor at this point. So I'm taking a 50-inch screen and making the resolution like a 2K monitor. And at that resolution, I'm only able to see 2 elements at one time, which for me is fine. Let's see what happens if I change it to more space. And now it should be a little bit smaller. Let me do this here. Still a little fun thing here. So notice all this black space I have. I'm now able to show all the elements on my screen, but I have a lot more black space to deal with. So it's really a balancing act between the resolution of your computer monitor or the monitor you're actually using and the Mixbus settings you have in preferences. So if I want to see this a little bit bigger and show all the strip elements on my screen, I can go to my default setting and maybe bring it up to like 120. And now it's a little bit bigger with a little less black space. I can go 130 and it's still bigger. That looks pretty good right there. But if I go 140, what's going to happen? Okay, I can see all 5 elements. Actually, I need to show the input. There we go. See, now the bottom starts getting cut off just a little bit. So what you have to do is maybe go 130 or even like 120. And that's a pretty good size for me right there. I'm far enough away from the screen to where I can see, I'm about 5 feet or so from the screen, maybe 5 or 6 feet. And I can see all the elements really well. Let's see. Let's get my get over to the comments here. Glenn, I do like the features a lot, and Sean White's in the house. He says it sounds good. And Glenn has a 65-inch, and I'm tempted to put it on my mixing desk. Now I really want to do it. Well, don't put it on the desk, but I have my TV mounted on the wall right in front of me. I did have it on a little rolly, like a roll around kind of thing, but in the current situation I'm in, I decided to mount it directly onto the wall. Then I have my desk about 6 or so feet off the wall with my speakers about 1.5 feet off the wall. And that gives me a nice little triangle right here for my listening position, even though I'm just wearing headphones right now. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and play the mix so you can kind of see what's going on. Let me know if it's too soft. Yeah, I got your harmony right here, folks. Right here, I got it. All right, so what I'm not really doing anything specific, but what's cool about Mixbus is this. I'm sending all these tracks, all 38 of them, to one of the many Mixbuses that we have right over here. Okay? And in particular, I have them sent to the first 8 buses because from there I can use the little matrix sends to send anything from the first 8 to the last 4. And that really helps you organize your session for this reason. So check this out. So at the top over here, across all your mix buses, you have a spill button. So Mixbus 1 is always my drums. So if I hit spill, I only see my drum tracks right over here. And I can solo the drums from the Mixbus itself. So we got this. Okay, also have a NYC squash bus. I can go in and change the compression up here, change the ratio, bring up the emphasis knob, which is going to actually darken the sound of the compressor because you're feeding more high end into the compressor, so therefore is reducing the gain on those high end frequencies. So the emphasis knob is definitely it's just a way to like change the character of the compressor essentially. And I'll show you what that's based on. Let's see, where is the Teletronics? Okay, you know, I don't know, not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. All that great, something like that. But there's a little knob right here called HF for high frequency. And what happens if you turn that knob is you essentially feed more high end into the compressor, and it compresses the high end sooner than it does the low frequencies. So in regard to Mixbus now, that's essentially what you're doing with that emphasis knob is in the far left settings, you are affecting more of the low end. And then as you raise this up, it's like a big shelf that scoops up about like 20 dB, and it pushes all that high end into the compressor and just changes the character of it. So it's very, very cool. And it's a good way to adjust maybe cymbals. If you want to compress cymbals a little bit more, we can check out the check out my overhead mics. And let's just, let's go here. We're going to loop this little section. Maybe. If I do this. So there's just my overheads. Right. Now on the emphasis knob, I can bring it all the way up. And start bringing down my compressor threshold. Maybe change the style of compression to compressor instead of leveler. It's getting more aggressive. And you can notice that the gain reduction actually goes from the bottom to the top. That's because the gate reduction meter goes from the top to the bottom. And when you're looking down here, you can see opposing meters. So you just know if the reduction is going from the bottom to the top, that's the compressor. Then the gate is going from the top to the bottom. I think it's great. There's been mixed. There's definitely been mixed feelings about that feature so far on the forum. I just don't care. I kind of like it myself. So there you go. That's my personal opinion on that. We got electric guitars. Okay, so now with the EQ, the tone controls on this Mixbus, we actually have a high pass filter now directly on the bus. So what I like to do, and which is why I wanted this added, this is one of my personal requests that they obliged to add, was when I send all my tracks over to a bus, I can now high pass filter all of them at once instead of going to each individual track and then going to the EQ and moving all the individual filters up and down. So I do have some filters already on here. I'm pretty sure that's left over from the previous mix. But yeah, it is what it is. So we got the spiel feature to show just the tracks you want going to that mix bus. And then we have the additional high pass filter on the mix buses, the emphasis knob on the compressor. We also have an attack and release times. Now what's cool is there's some other parameters in the background that you don't see that existed in V8 and other versions, that whenever you chose one of these three presets, leveler, compressor, or limiter, it adjusted those for you. And those still are intact, but now you can go a little bit farther from the preset settings and still change the attack time and the release time however you see fit. So we haven't done away, Harrison hasn't done away with the presets. It just gives you that as a starting point, and then you can still go in and adjust things as far as the attack and release, the ratio, and now the emphasis knob, stuff like that. So let me check the comments here. Glenn says the snare is fat. It's pretty fat. Pretty fat. I do have a gate on the drums. So let me show you that gate right here. Let's loop it. Now, part of that fatness, Glenn, is the room mics, which is I have a mid-side. I don't know why I'm looking over here. This is where the comments are. I have a mid-side configuration where I had it's essentially a Bloomline pair, where I have one head going this way and the other head of the mic going side to side. And then once I record it in the DAW, I duplicate the side capsule. And then I pan it hard left and right, and then I invert the polarity on one of the channels, so it ends up sounding like this. Let me shift this so you can just hear these. Now check this out. This is a weird phenomenon, but it sounds cool. Okay, let me take the polarity off. So there's everything down the middle, because it's really one signal, but with a figure 8 polar pattern. Then if I invert the phase, it gets really wide. Let me bring that up a little bit here. Okay. It's down the middle. I invert the phase so it gets really wide. And now if I bring in the room mic, hold on. I'm messing this up. Okay, like that. Let me use my PreSonus here in front of me to kind of adjust those levels. Yeah, so those are just the room mics, and they sound nice and big and fat. And that's where you're getting the fatness at, is we recorded those drums in a huge garage that was at the singer in the band I used to be in, Feedback Revival. Feedbackrevival.com. No, not .com. Look us up on YouTube and Spotify and all the other places if you want to check out our music. Feedback Revival. And so yeah, it was like a 25 by 25 foot, square foot garage. Very, very big. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. We actually did a music video in there one time, which was cool. But yeah, those room mics really make it sound really big. And then when you add in, let me just add in the kick and snare. And then I'm gonna add in the overheads. Then add in the toms. Okay, so there you go. It just makes for a good overall drum sound, especially when you have a good room to record them in. And then let me bring down this fader again here, so we're not blowing you out with the full mix. I'm not sure how far away the room mic was. I want to maybe 10 feet or so. I mean, so it's a very big garage. So it's probably a good 10 feet, 10, 15 feet away. Just really capturing the whole room. And it turned out great. So let me unsolo all these. Actually, Shift Command will apply it to the whole track or all the tracks. So let me solo the drums on the Mixbus. You can hear just those. All right, then here's the whole mix again.
And I like we're on a jet. We came in a body, don't forget. Like the way that I move.
All right, so what's cool about, another thing that's cool about Mixbus V9 is the drive button here on the channel itself. So let me loop this.
Like the way that I move. My hips are syncopated to this groove. Then I like.
So it's really taking the orange mode that's on the Mixbus. There's a new orange mode, and it's applying a certain pre-amount level to the drive. And however loud you have your signal going into it, that's how much drive you're going to get. So let's play this with it off and then on.
Do you like the way that I move? My hips are syncopated to this groove.
And here's the drive on.
And I like we're on a jet. We came in a body, don't forget.
Now I do have the trim up a little bit right there. So when you bring the trim up, because the trim is right before that drive section, it's really at the very beginning of the channel signal path. So the higher you have the trim, the more you're going to drive into it. So let me show you what that does.
Do you like the way that I move? My hips are syncopated to this groove. Feeling like we're on a jet. We came in a body.
So really that's how you adjust the level of the drive, is really how much trim you feed into it. So sometimes you might not even need a whole lot. So it's really based on your overall level that you're going in. But you are compressing the sound the more you bring it into the more you push it.
Do you like the way that I move? My hips are syncopated to this groove. Feeling like we're on a jet. We came in a body, don't forget. Do you like the way that...
So there's still a little bit of gain staging that you can do. You can either bring up the fader to make back up the reduction that you put in, or you can just bring up the gain on the compressor right up here, wherever that is. And I'm sorry, you're probably not seeing all this all that well, but in a pre-made video, I'll be able to zoom in a little bit easier and show you that. But yeah, you can always just bring up the gain, the makeup gain on the compressor to level out stuff if you need to.
Do you like the way that I move? My hips are
Also compress it
syncopated to this
as well.
groove. Feeling like we're on a jet. We came in a body, don't forget. Do you like the way that I move?
But it really keeps that vocal like very steady in the mix. It's really, you're driving it, so you're adding some harmonic saturation, and then you're also compressing it, so it just keeps it nice and steady in the mix, which is cool. Let's go and find another section here, maybe like the solo area or something. Let's do like this little area here. This will be fine. So what I'm doing is I'm making a range using my range tool. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make this bigger. There we go. Make it bigger, so I can actually see what I'm doing on the screen. All right, Sean, thanks for hanging out. We're just kind of having fun at this point. So right squarely bracket and then hit L. Solo. Split out my guitars so I can see where my solo track is. So I probably don't want to add too much drive to an already distorted guitar. It doesn't make a lot of sense unless you just want that kind of sound. But that sound is fine as it is. So.
Feel the motion, starting with commotion.
All right, now one more thing I'm going to show you is the difference between the drive knob on the Mixbus and the two different modes. So we got yellow mode, which is the original tape drive sound, and then we have the orange mode, which has been updated to have a little tighter low end and crunch up more on the high end. And also when you click on the LED, you can also just take it out. So you don't have to move the drive all the way to the left to take it out. You can just keep the drive knob where you have it and then toggle it on and off to listen for the differences in sound, which I think is great. So it's worth the price of admission right there for sure. So let's loop this. So here's the yellow mode. Okay, and bringing up the trim also drives that a little bit harder. Because the drive, even though it's here on the screen, is actually very, very top in the signal path. Then here's orange. So it kind of crunches up that snare a little bit differently. Okay, stuff like that. Let's go to see what's on the Crush bus here. Mainly bass. Let's check out bass. So I got the drive knob on the bass over here. Let's take that off. So there's yellow. It's really crunching up that low end. Then here's orange. So the orange mode really handles low end a little bit better. So if you want smoother low end and a crunchier top end, then use the orange mode. If you don't mind a little crunch on the low end, then use the yellow mode, and that just experiment and see which one you like best.
The motion, starting with commotion. Take me by the hand.
Now, lastly, we can look at the new glue compressor on the master bus, and I'll put the drive at default. We have a little typo here. Actually, this says low mid, which this is supposed to be low mid over here. This is just supposed to say low. So whatever, we'll fix that in an upcoming hot fix or something. But let's look at the compressor here at the end and see what that does. And then we'll call it a night, okay? We got the gain reduction down here. There's with the threshold all the way up. So you're getting 0 gain reduction. And actually, if we look at our K14 meter on the far right on the master bus, we're not really hitting into the 0 yellow area just yet. So I'm going to use my trim knob and bring that up. And you can see the yellow on the limiter kind of blinking every once in a while. I don't want it showing all the time. I don't want it to be like this. Yeah, that's when you know you're limiting too much. But just a little yellow light every once in a while is perfectly fine. And then you can use the threshold on your compressor to adjust the overall, glue up the overall sound if you need to. Bring down my trim. So that's actually probably pretty good right there. Just a little yellow light on the limiter, maybe one LED or so on the compressor, just to give it a little bit of, shaping the transients a little bit. And you can see that if we add in a inline scope, which is the Ace plugin. So we'll add that in there. And of course, where does it show up? It showed up on there. Sorry. I'm an idiot. Well, I'm not an idiot, but all right, so let's play this again. So the inline scope shows you the transients in real time as it passes through. So if we overly compress, you can see those transients get super small, which is not what you want. zero compression. Nice big transients, big peaks. And you go in and adjust that.
Commotion, starting with commotion. Take me by the hand. You spin me round and round.
Okay. All right. So now, once we're done, technically done, then go into our export window. And let's say, actually, we can do this. We can do a quick export now. That was added in 8.2. Export. Quick export is Command E. So I'm going to use that shortcut. And this is going to be MP3 for sharing. 1 dBFS peak. Session rate MP3. I'm going to use the session start to end. And bam. So it is now exporting. You're not going to see an analysis of the audio after this, but it is just a quick export when you don't need to see all that extra stuff. But it will open up the folder that it exported to, so you can then drag and drop into maybe an email or a Dropbox or whatever it is. So there's my my song. So there you go. I think the vocal turned out pretty cool with that extra bit of drive and saturation on the voice there. And bass was cool. Drums had a good mix. Really, it's really in the name, Mixbus. You are meant to mix in this thing. Yes, you can produce MIDI and record. You know, obviously you can record stuff. That's why we have the record page here. You can see all your inputs coming in, right? You can kind of treat this as like a tape machine or like a hard disk recorder without having to see all the waveforms. You can go in and add cues to all these different slots, and then trigger those on the timeline, like Ableton Live-ish. Something like that. You have an edit window. Obviously, you can edit stuff. And not sure why, what's going on there. And then we have our mix window, where you can see all your different channel strips all in one time. And you can mix in context without having to use any plugins. Now, I used a G-Verb here. See, that gets bigger. It doesn't. So there's the G-Verb that I use, and a little triple delay for the vocal slapback setting. But when I mix, I don't use any plugins other than just some wet effects. I use all the elements you see on the screen, from gate, compression, EQ, and sends, and that's it. I don't need anything else. If you need something special like an Ozone plugin or your favorite Waves tuning plugin, I do have Melodyne that I use for special occasions when the singer is just not that great. But thankfully, I don't have to use that all too often. And but that's more of like editing kind of stuff. So yeah, when I'm editing, it's okay to use some plugins to shape the sound if I need to. But really, when I'm mixing, what you see here on the screen is all I use. Gate, compressor, EQ, and sends. It's good enough for me. Might be good enough for you. I'm not sure. But anyway, I've had fun tonight talking about guitar stuff. And then Glenn got me on this strange Mixbus kick. So it is what it is. I'm not seeing this other screen here. I can't tell how many people is online. But it's fine. It's all good. All right, guys, I'm going to close up shop, and you have a great rest of your day. There we are. We got 6 people there. Okay, cool. I was trying to find where my screen was so I could actually see what's going on. So be sure to call in to the office, harrisonconsoles.com, and ask me any questions you have, or send an email about V9. If you're interested in my Dr. McFarland stuff, go to my website, drmcfarlandstudios.com. Check the description of all my videos, where they have affiliate links to Amazon and Sweetwater. And if you're interested in backing tracks or Sonic DNA, Doc McFarland IRs, which is impulse responses for your digital mauler. There's plenty of different ways to support the channel and what I do here online. So thanks, guys, for watching. I am Dr. McFarland, and I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.